Welcome to the Natural Parents Podcast, where we will cover all things faith, health, family, and wealth through a biblical perspective of putting things in life that matter most back into order. We're reminded of Matthew 6:33, where Jesus said, "But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all of these things shall be added to you." Join us each week as we focus on what truly matters most in this life and passing those values on to the next generation. This is the Natural Parents Podcast with Ryan and Abbie Hukin.
All right, so I think healthcare as a whole, there are a lot of lies associated with it.
Yeah.
Namely, three big lies when it comes to what we've been told with our health.
Like, healthcare is really sick care.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely things like that.
For sure. We, especially as a country, America is last in industrialized countries. So first world countries, we rank last pretty well across the board, or nearly last in all major health categories. Spending is first, so we spend more than anyone in the entire world. Actually, almost combined, I've seen statistics on, we spend more on what we call health care in this country than anyone else, or even a lot of the top probably 10 industrialized countries out there do. We spend more, but we're achieving the worst health outcomes as far as life expectancy, obesity, diabetes, comorbid conditions, things like that. We have the worst health system in the world.
I believe it. So, three biggest lies that you've been told about your health in no particular order, but I do have opinions on all of them. What's the first one?
Let's see. So pills make you healthy.
Take the symptom away. I'm all better, right?
Right. So for those of you that don't know, I grew up, my dad's a pharmacist, and I tell people all the time, like, we had a symptom, Dad could bring something home that we would alter that symptom, right? You had a sore throat, there was a sore throat pill. You had an itch, there was a non-itch pill. We say oftentimes as chiropractors that the world of medicine, there's a pill, a potion, or a lotion for anything that you could take, and it'll change your symptoms. But the question is, do they actually make you healthy?
Yeah, they change your symptoms, but it doesn't take away the whole reason that it's there. You know, I used to always say, if you have a migraine and you take Excedrin, Excedrin doesn't heal your body. It's just taking away the symptom, and your body's not lacking that Excedrin. So we really need to find like the root cause, or what is causing that symptom in the first place, and not just covering it up.
Yeah, absolutely. You're getting into lie number 2, which I'll go ahead and tell you, but we're going to come back to the pills thing before we do. But symptoms require treatment.
Yeah. All the symptoms always require treatment, which is not always true. For example, last night our daughter Brynley had a fever, and typically you always hear, "Oh my gosh, like, get their fever down, get their fever down." And we were able to talk to her about fever and how it's just what our body is supposed to do. And if we interrupted that by giving Tylenol, not only does Tylenol do other things that I won't go into on this podcast, but when it comes to healing in the body and immune system, but that Tylenol interrupts the fever, which you think, yay, no symptom, right? But what that does then is doesn't allow her body to use that fever to fight the germ, virus, bacteria, whatever it's fighting, and kill it off to make her healthier faster.
Yeah, so in school we had microbiology lab where you learn all about the different gram-positive and negative and different types of bacteria that are out there versus viruses versus all these different things. And one of the things we learned about was how temperature is a major factor in the health and the ability of a bug to thrive effectively. So we'd take certain bacteria and we'd put them on a petri dish with a growth medium, usually some sort of sugar-based jelly type culture. You'd rub the bacteria onto the petri dish and you'd put it in an incubator, this big cabinet that was like an oven that just didn't get very hot. And if that oven was 98-ish degrees, 98.6 is actually what we would set it at, which is statistically the average human temperature, those bacteria would go bonkers. Like, you'd come back the next day and that petri dish where you just put, it looked like nothing because you couldn't see it to the naked eye on the dish itself, you'd come back and it was just covered. It was fuzzy, it had stuff like growing and like yellow and green. It was just crazy how it did that. But at the exact same time, there was a second oven, and we took the same bacteria and we put them on a different petri dish, and we put them in there, and it was 101 or 102 degrees, and you come back, and guess what? those bacteria would not have grown. There was nothing. Like you could see, like it looked the exact same way you put it in, which was to the naked eye, there was nothing there. And probably there wasn't. Those old bacteria had probably died at the 101, 102 degree temperature that we put it in. So it's pretty wild to think that we've been taught, fever is just the easiest example, but headaches, migraines, things like that, even pain. Man, we're the most pain-averse country in the entire world because we've been told that if you have any sort of symptom, you need a pill, a potion, or a lotion to alter that symptom. It has absolutely nothing to do with true health.
Right.
My question when you were telling them about Brinley's fever is like funny, but how did you know she had a fever?
Right. Spicy.
Right, yeah. What was her temperature?
I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
And don't come for us. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, oh my gosh, their children are miserable. They make them suffer just so that they don't have Tylenol. No, this morning she woke up fever-free, feeling better. Had I interfered, it probably would have made it last a day, 2 days longer than it needed to. And there are other things that you can do to help them be more comfortable so that you're not just giving Tylenol to make them comfortable. There's plenty of other things. Like in our Facebook group, we have a lot of them listed.
Yeah. And number one line of defense for anything in our life is get adjusted. So she was, Brinley, we got information. We had a meeting yesterday with our team in our Chesterfield office, and on our way home, your mom had told us, hey, Brinley doesn't seem to be feeling well. She says kind of her head is bothering her, and she's definitely got a fever. So as soon as I saw her, she came over, sat on my lap. I checked her spine and adjusted her, right? And told her, hey, your body's healing. She was actually asking questions. She was like, wait a second. So fever? Like on our way out of your parents' house last night, she was asking us about why do I have this fever and what's happening and those types of things. And at 6 years old, we get the opportunity to tell her, no, this is the way God designed your body. He wants you to be healthy, and he gave you these parameters. Something, maybe a little bug, maybe a little something kind of got inside. And so she was trying to ask questions about that, but she was like, so my body's working good for me.
Yeah.
And she was ready. Like we got home and she was like, put me in my bed so I can go to sleep. And put her down, prayed over her, asked for God to work through her and heal her body. And she woke up this morning and she was spunky.
Yeah.
Like she come bouncing out of there. I said, how you feeling, Brad?
And we really told her that you're not sick right now. Your body is healthy and it's doing exactly what it needs to do to get rid of the thing. Like I think oftentimes we just view it all as bad and that we're sick and our bodies are failing us. And there's definitely a fine line of being like sick too often and not enough and just right. Like there's definitely that to look at, but whenever our bodies are working properly and spiking fevers to get rid of things, we know that we're functioning optimally.
Yeah, and something we say in our house, and I would invite you to consider for your family too, is what we say is we don't say sick. We say we're expressing health. Because if you have a symptom of fever, or if you're vomiting or have diarrhea or something
Whatever
like that
is
going on, your body is doing exactly what God designed it to do to get you back to full functioning, optimal, symptom-free health as fast as possible. Yeah. And you put those things in place for us to be able to do that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We don't just need a pill. There's an anti-nausea, anti-vomiting, anti-diarrhea pill that you could take, but well, golly, then you're leaving all that stuff in there.
Yeah.
Yes, we need to be eating correctly, moving our bodies, sleeping well, getting sunshine, doing so many different things. It's not just a blanket statement of like, don't ever take pills. It's just that those pills are made merely to alter symptoms. Symptoms do not always require treatment. And most importantly, the biggest lie that I think, if you're going to let me go off on a soapbox tangent,
number three
is that your health is someone else's responsibility. And this is big because you don't even realize, most people don't even realize that this is the way that they've been programmed to think.
Right.
I think the entire system, not a conspiracy aspect of things, I guess you could go down that rabbit hole if you want to, but if you look at what we call health insurance in our country and the way that health insurance companies work with pharmaceutical companies, which work with the major medical providers and all these different things, is that health insurance is a farce. Like that is a lie. It's sick insurance. Car insurance pays for when your car gets damaged, right? Health insurance pays for when you lose your health. It does not insure at all that you're going to be healthy. But as soon as I pay this premium on a thing that says, I'm paying for this and I want to use it when X, Y, and Z happens in my health, subconsciously, there's in my opinion, a self-sabotaging conversation that happens between your earlobes that says, now my health is someone else's responsibility. They take money out of my paycheck every single month to pay for my health. So when my genes do me wrong, at least I've got my health insurance. And I believe wholeheartedly that what we should be doing is taking proactive, preventative steps to optimize our health no matter what. Health insurance, sick insurance, no matter what. Like, our health is our own responsibility.
I completely agree with that. And I just think that, you know, down that whole, you know, it's even easy to think that like a doctor failed you, and I'm not saying that there aren't times and places where that is a thing, and especially medical malpractice and things like that. But just like you said, like being proactive with your health, are you being checked? So many people think that getting chiropractic care is just about pain, and it is about so much more than that with your nervous system and your health and all of your systems functioning. So it's like, are you getting checked? What are you eating? Because, you know, Hostess donuts don't really serve your body. And so if you're eating them on the regular, I'm not saying that you can't have them, you know, every now and again, but you can't be eating those on the regular. Are you moving your body? Are you drinking quality water? Are your drainage pathways open? All of those types of things. And just doing all of those, like in other countries, they also practice that kind of stuff regularly. And, you know, we just kind of exist until one of our check engine lights goes off, and then we're like, oh, you know, run and get a pill. So, of course, none of this is medical advice. Don't listen to us. Consult your healthcare professional. And don't listen to what we do for our kids. Do what you think you should do for your kids. We're just telling you what works for us.
Open your mind to other opportunities, other things that might be possible. Deepen the conversation around it. I think something that's goes alongside this is so cool that our bodies, every second of every day, are creating new cells. Like 2 years from now, you are not the same person. Like, you're still Abbie, but you're mostly, probably at that point in time, at your age, 2 years from now, you're probably 90+% totally dead to who you used to be. Through a process we call apoptosis or apoptosis, depends on how you want to say it. Your cells die off. And guess what? What you put in your mouth, you're regenerating new cells out of that, right? And so go back and listen to our podcast on the 7 pillars of vitality, because those are the things that we have to do really well to be proactive and preventative in our health and actually take our health by the reins. But whatever health problem you're dealing with today, I can promise you, genetic or not genetic, that is not as simple as it is. We've seen such a rise in these quote-unquote genetic abnormalities or diseases or disorders or things like that, but genetics alone do not cause epidemics. It's impossible. It takes a lot of factors to play into this, and namely some of the biggest ones are what we're putting into our bodies, including, yes, food, but also the pills and toxins and things that come along with that.
So sometimes you may feel like you're too far gone and there's no hope and all of that, but just remember that your body literally recreates itself every single day. And like you said, 2 years, you'll be like, all your cells in your body just are new. And so it's never too late to just start taking better care of yourself and not just allowing your fate to be whatever it is right now. You can change it.
Absolutely. A diagnosis does not have to be your story. It does not have to be that at all. You can change it. You grew into that state, we can grow out of it. 1000%. So don't believe the lies. Pills don't make you healthy. All symptoms do not need to be treated. And for certain, your health is your responsibility, no one else's.
From the bottom of our hearts, we want to thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with someone you know and leave a review. By doing so, we're able to grow this community of amazing people just like you and raise a generation of children that know God and do His will on earth. We'll see you next time.